In the flat fields of Omaha, Nebraska, on a chilly August day in 1930, a boy named Warren Edward Buffett was born. His entry into the world wasn't marked by splendor or fanfare, just the modest home of Howard and Layla Buffett. But even then, something stirred in that infant's chest. A restlessness, a hunger for more, not for fame or even wealth, but for understanding, for value, for the quiet alchemy of patience. Young Warren was the type of child most adults would misread. When other kids were playing tag or tossing baseballs, Warren was door to door selling chewing gum, occasionally bottles of Coca-Cola, and at 6 he already owned a paper route. He counted nickels, pennies, dimes, always dreaming of what they might become. His father, a stockbroker and later a congressman, brought the world of numbers home. The sight of ticker symbols and price charts was part of family dinner conversation. Warren absorbed them like sunlight, and he asked questions, many questions. What is a margin? What does it mean when the market is fearful or greedy? He pursued answers with curiosity, precision, and a kind of gentle stubbornness. By age 11, Warren owned his first stock, 3 shares of City Service Preferred. He bought them for about $38 each. The price dipped, then rose, then fell, but the lesson stuck. He held and learned the virtue and cost of waiting. Later, when the price soared past $200, he let them go too early perhaps. But with his fascination for the process cemented, it was not yet fortune he sought. It was understanding, proving to himself how value could be found and held. School life for Warren was quiet, studious. He wasn't the loudest voice in class, but he was a persistent one. He read everything, books on business, numbers, history. One teacher predicted he would amount to nothing in business because he was too soft, too mild. But Warren tolerated doubt with calm. He believed that fortune favors the informed, the patient, the disciplined. After high school, he enrolled at Wharton when he was just 16, then transferred to the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, and ultimately to Columbia Business School. There, he studied under Benjamin Graham, the father of value investing. Graham's lessons would shape his life. Buy stocks as if you're buying the whole company. Value intrinsic worth, not just market price, margin of safety. These weren't just techniques, they became guiding stars. Graduation didn't mean an easy road, however. Warren tried working for Graham in New York. The hours were long, the pay modest, but to him the exposure was priceless. Another disappointing attempt to launch his own investment partnership in his early years ended with some losses, but with each misstep came correction. He refined his intuition. He came to trust what he saw more than what was popular, where others chased what was new or hot. Warren asked, "What's under the surface? What does this business truly make? What is its moat or its vulnerability?" In 1956, he started Buffett Partnership Limited in his hometown of Omaha. Partners chipped in modest sums. Warren managed with a singular goal: deliver returns that outpace risk, not impress with sensational growth. He bought textile companies, insurance businesses, small manufacturers. He kept books tight, fees low, expectations modest, and yet over time, compounding began to show its power. The small investments grew, then grew more. Some partners, seeing steady returns, became loyal. Not because of hype, they believed in Warren himself, in the slow alchemy of capital and character. Perhaps the most well-known chapter in his life began in 1965 when Warren took control of Berkshire Hathaway, a struggling textile manufacturer. Most saw a failing business. Warren didn't see failure, he saw opportunity. Or more precisely, he saw what he could learn. He began redirecting profits into more durable businesses, insurance, utilities, even buying whole companies with solid cash flows and reliable management. He surrounded himself with people he could trust, managers of unimpressive appearance, often overlooked yet devoted. He let them run their businesses as they saw fit, so long as they had integrity and good judgment. But the fortune wasn't built by grand gestures alone. It was built by decades of decisions, declining when the crowd was greedy, buying when the crowd was fearful. Warren's temperament was the thing, steady, unshaken. In 1973, when the stock market was faltering and many were panicked, he wrote of investing like being an archer. "If you shoot arrows all day and miss the target by inches, no one will care," he said. But few make the kind of precision shoot that hits. He perfected it by practice, by weight, by reflection. Alongside business acumen, there was also Warren's own simplicity. He lived for decades in the same modest house in Omaha that he bought in 1958, not for novelty or nostalgia, but because it grounded him. He drove cars that worked, not ones that flaunted. He avoided debt. He shunned complexity. He scorned overpaying for anything. Even as he amassed billions, he asked for something simple: integrity, honesty, and someone who knows how to run their business. Public opinion alternated between awe and skepticism. People called him the Oracle of Omaha. Some marveled at his wisdom, others whispered that such success must have required ruthless ambition or cutting corners. But Warren was consistent. When you've done things right, reputation becomes your hard currency. He disclosed his mistakes. He owned up to error. In 1974, after losing money betting on a company's thin profits, he didn't hide it. He explained why it had failed, what assumptions had misled him. He believed investors deserve respect, truth, humility, and with success came influence, quiet, measured. Warren wasn't one to hog limelight. He didn't need headlines. He didn't need flashy speeches. Yet people listened when he spoke. They listened when he wrote his annual letters to shareholders. They were more than financial statements. They were lectures in ethics, in long-term thinking, in balancing greed with responsibility. He raised questions about what it meant to be wealthy, what obligations that brought. In 2006, he and his close friend Bill Gates announced the Giving Pledge, encouraging billionaires around the world to commit the majority of their wealth to philanthropic causes. Warren pledged the bulk of his own fortune. It was not a publicity stunt. It was a promise anchored in decades of belief that money, when used wisely, must serve. That success unshared is hollow. Throughout his life, Warren faced criticism. Some questioned his investments. Others criticized his wealth inequality. Some said he should pay more taxes, distribute more. Others faulted him for keeping wealth concentrated. Warren accepted these challenges with a certain grace. He spoke quietly, always pointing back to what he believed mattered. Value over vanity, results over rhetoric. As Berkshire Hathaway grew into a conglomerate owning railroads, insurance businesses, energy companies, food producers, media outlets, Warren's influence stretched far beyond finance. He became a symbol of patience, of common sense thinking. He still reads. He still studies annual reports. He still seeks a CEO who understands durable competitive advantage. He still marvels at simple but profound ideas. Return on equity, the flywheel of compound interest, the idea that time is the friend of the well-invested. In recent years, Warren has turned more and more to philanthropy. He's given away tens of billions. The Gates-Buffett Giving Pledge has grown. But even as he pours money into schools, health causes, the thread remains the same. Invest now, give back later, do it well, do it thoughtfully. Today, Warren Buffett is more than a business titan. He is a living lesson, from the boy counting pennies in Omaha to the man leading a global empire. His journey is the story of constancy, of values kept through temptation, of decision-making rooted in humility. He taught a nation and a world that doing the small things right, day after day, accumulates into greatness. His legacy is not only the companies, the stock holdings, or even the billions he's donated. It is in the way people think about success, that it doesn't require flash, but commitment. From analyzing financial statements to writing shareholder letters that teach as much about life as about investing, Warren Buffett's story is not one of flashy success. It is one of steadfast growth. If you enjoyed this video, I highly recommend watching this next one. It's just as powerful.